Greetings towards my Century Galaxy, it's the Central Man here, so back again with another classic SummerSlam pay-per-view review. 1993 for the World Wrestling Federation is basically a bad year for the company. I don't say it's on the same level as 1995's WWF, I don't want to get into it, but it was a bad year for the company. A lot of major stars leaving the company, they're struggling to find the next top star for the World Wrestling Federation. A lot of sex scandals and steroid scandals, a lot of scandals in 1993's WWF, basically in professional wrestling. I don't want to get into that. So this is my review of WWF Summerslam 1993 at the Palace of Urban Hills in Urban Hills, Michigan. That's outside Detroit on the 30th of August 1993. The attendance for the show was 23,954. This show received about 250,000 pay-per-view buys, a downgrade than the 1992 SummerSlam event because that show was at Wembley Stadium in London. It's not the Wembley you see right now with the arch, it's the old Wembley with the Twin Towers. The main event of that show was Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith for the Intercontinental Championship, and that show received about 280,000 pay-per-view buys. The commentators for the show are Vince McMahon and Bobby the Brain Heenan. This show is memorable for the main event. The evil Japanese foreigner Yokozuna versus good old USA Lex Luger for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. We'll get to the main event later on in this review. So the first match to kick off the show, we got Razor Ramon versus the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase Sr. This was an okay match. DiBiase is not known for great wrestling skills. He's more for his character. He's the $1 Million Man and Supercom billionaire Ted in WCW. We got future members of the NWO. This is 5 years of the NWO anyway, or 3 years in the NWO. Anyway, so it was an okay match. Like DiBiase, the bulk of the match was, working the back of Razor Ramon, doing a lot of backbreakers, Razor got his heat back. In the end, DiBiase exposed one of the turnbuckles, trying to send Razor into the exposed turnbuckle, but instead his plan backfired. Razor hit the Razor's Edge onto the $1 Million Man to win this match. Yeah, it was nothing special. And sadly, this was DiBiase's final match. He never had a match ever again. Maybe he had a short match in later years, but he never had like a full-length match ever again in WWF, in WCW. I done my research. He left the company in late '93. I think it's something about like martial problems. I don't know. And he injured his back and neck. Must be in a house show. So he never wrestled ever again. He ended up forming the $1 Million Corporation. Came back in '94 for the $1 Million Corporation. Sticked around as a manager throughout until right now in NXT. He teamed up with LA Knight, formerly known as Eli Drake. But he never wrestled ever again. I think at this moment in time, DiBiase was not really doing anything at the time. I think they broke up, him and IRS, Money Inc., that was completely stupid. Yeah, they got reunited, forming $1 Million Corporation, in the mid-90s WWF, but yeah, he was not really doing anything at the time. Razor ended up becoming the Intercontinental Champion. That's another story for another time. So the next match, this is for the WWF Tag Team Championships. We've got the Steiner brothers, that is Rick and Scott Steiner, defending the belts against the Heavy Bodies with Jim Cornette in their corner. Heavy Bodies is Tom Pritchard and Jimmy Del Rey. At this moment of the time, the World Wrestling Federation is in this working relationship. Bit of a tongue twister moment. Yeah, they're in a working relationship with Smoking Mountain Wrestling, that is Jim Cornette's promotion. I've done my research before doing this review on the show. Anyway, that's the reason why Jim Cornette's in the World Wrestling Federation. He managed in the NWA/WCW, and I don't know, maybe in the territories, and also Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I think you still get episodes of Smoking Mountain Wrestling on the network. Anyway, the match was good. The match was good between the Steiners and the Heavenly Bodies. What my only nitpick in this match has to be Jim Cornette. He got involved in this match a lot. I think he pulled down one of the Steiner brothers. He throwed his tennis racket towards Tom Pritchard. Tom Pritchard hit Rick Steiner with the tennis racket. Rick Steiner kicked out the tennis racket attempt by Tom Pritchard. In the end, they were going for like a tag team finisher. Was it Jimmy Del Rey accidentally hit? He was trying to hit Rick Steiner with the moonsault, but instead he hit Tom Pritchard instead. Man, it's getting really confusing. In the end, Scott Steiner hit the Frankensteiner onto, I think it was Jimmy Del Rey, to win this match and retain the WWF Tag Team Championships. And by the way, this is in Urban Hills, Michigan. It's basically outside Detroit. The Steiners are kind of like the hometown heroes. And before that, you got before the start of this match, you had Todd Pettengill interviewing the Steiners' mother and their sister. Their sister looked smoking hot. And I saw the image of the Steiners' sister. Wow, she is stunning hot. Anyway, so the Steiners, for me, they're basically one of the best tag teams in professional wrestling. But in WWF, or WWE, they're kind of like underrated. In their run in the WWF was very underrated. Because in WCW, in TNA, in every wrestling promotion they were like a household name. I think they had a cup of coffee in ECW, but in the WWF/E, it was underrated. It has to do with it's a shame they're not gonna. I hope they're in the Hall of Fame one day. Steiners. I don't think it's going to happen. I think like Scott Steiner basically left on very bad terms. He was unhappy in his second run in the company in early 2000s, 2002, 2003. Yeah, he stayed into 2004. Anyway, enough of my rambling. So moving on to the next match. So yeah, the tag team title match was a decent match. So the next match, this is for the Intercontinental Championship. We got Shawn Michaels with Big Daddy Cool Diesel, aka Kevin Nash, in Shawn Michaels' corner, defending the belt against Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig. So this rivalry took place at WrestleMania. This was after the match between Mr. Perfect and Lex Luger, the Narcissist. It was a backstage brawl. Shawn Michaels got involved in the brawl between Luger and Perfect. Perfect cost Shawn Michaels the Intercontinental Championship against Marty Jannetty on an episode of Monday Night Raw. Michaels regained the title back after the debut of Diesel. So they set up this match on the show. This was a good match. You can call it match of the night. This is similar to the previous match between the Steiners and the Heavenly Bodies. Diesel, Kevin Nash got involved in this match, 3 times. I don't want to get into it, but it was a good match. Yeah, I think Shawn hit the switching music onto Perfect outside the ring. This was in the early stages of the match. I don't think the announcers call it switching music yet, but anyway, Perfect is about to almost won this match. Hit Shawn Michaels with the Perfect Plex. Diesel pulled Perfect out of the ring. They end up fighting. In the end, Diesel kind of thrown Perfect into the ring post, and Shawn Michaels won this match via the count to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Very disappointed, and afterwards, basically had Perfect is about to attack Diesel. The numbers game finally catch up with Mr. Perfect. They beat down Perfect, and that was it. Sadly, this was Mr. Perfect's final match in the WWF. For another 9 years. He wrestled again in 2002 at the Royal Rumble when he made his return at the Royal Rumble match. Yeah, this was his final match, not just in the WWF, but in professional wrestling for the next few years until he wrestled in WCW. There's many stories, legends of why he, left. He was supposed to be in the Survivor Series match in 1993. Oh, that's a future pay-per-view for another time. There's many stories that he suffered a back injury. He's unhappy with the creative decisions. I don't know, but yes, He came back in 1994. It's not the last time we see Mr. Perfect in the World Wrestling Federation. He was a special guest referee at WrestleMania 10. He was a commentator. He was a manager of Triple H in his early days in his career in the World Wrestling Federation, and he left the company to go to WCW, and you won't see him until 2002. Shawn ended up getting suspended next month. He got suspended in September. He was tested positive for steroids. Came back at Survivor Series. And that's another story for another time. And that was slowly building the foundation of the ladder match for the Unification IC title match at WrestleMania 10 between Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. So, moving on to match number 4. We got IRS. That is Owen R. Shyster versus the 1-2-3 Kid. That is, Sean Waltman, aka, future Six-Pack, aka the future X-Pac. Anyway, so this is his first pay-per-view match in the company. The one match put him on the map was he shockingly defeat Razor Ramon on an episode of Monday Night Raw, I think it was on May. So this is like an impromptu match, no build to this. The match was okay. The booking was dumb. Basically had Owen R. Shyster defeating the 1-2-3 Kid with a clothesline for the victory. For me, I rather have 1-2-3 Kid, Sean Waltman getting the victory over IRS. You're building the young talent up, because at this moment of time, IRS is not doing anything. He ended up, part of the $1 Million Corporation in 94, 95. Yeah, he stayed until 1995 to go to WCW, but he was not really doing anything. I'd rather they build up the 1-2-3 Kid. He's kind of like the star of the future. Because he become a star in the future throughout the 1990s. Sean Waltman, in WWF throughout the rest of the New Gem era, and then he went to WCW. He was kind of like lost in the pack in the NWO, and then he came back in the WWF in 1998 to be part of D-Generation X as X-Pac. Another story for another time. So, anyway, after the 4 matches, you got the opening was okay. The tag team title matches and the IC title matches, they were good. You got outside interference. I think the IC title match was a bit disappointed. The match ended in a count out, but they were still good matches. The Owen R. Shyster 1-2-3 Kid was another okay match, nothing special, but yeah, this show took a ton of the worst after that. So, match number 5, we got Bret the Hitman Hart versus Jerry the King Lawler. It was supposed to be, this should be the original match. So here's the rivalry between Bret versus Lawler. So it happened at the first King of the Ring pay-per-view. Bret Hart won the King of the Ring tournament. It became the first and only wrestler to win back-to-back King of the Ring tournaments. He won the first one in 91, and he won the second one in 1993. Lawler is bragging like he's the only true king in the WWF. Bret called him a Burger King. So Lawler attacked him. And also he was talking shit towards Bret's family, towards, his family, his mother, father, and his brother, including Owen. Owen was on the show, at ringside. Owen was a babyface. He's not the Owen Hart you see right now in later years, as this bratty, the Nuggets, one of the best catchphrases, enough is enough, it's time for the change. That'll be in later years, with the Hart Foundation and the Nation, teaming up with The Rock and Jeff Jarrett, but he's not this conniving heel yet. But anyway, so Lawler came out, basically he was on crutches. I think he was on a car accident or some shit. He's unable to compete, talk shit more of Bret's family, and then basically, Lawler's replacement to face Bret Hart in this match is Doink the Clown. The first Doink is Matt Bourne. The match between Bret and Doink, too long in my opinion. The wrestled a fine match, but it was too long in my opinion. This should be, I think it was a comedy match. Before that, you had Doink throwing he was throwing glitter towards Owen and Bruce, that's Bret's brothers. It was just a just a long match. Brett was about to win. In the end, Lawler hit Brett with the crutch. So yeah, helped Doink get the victory. Um, it's unfortunately, yeah. Doink's win over Brett it didn't mean anything. I'll get to that a little bit later on. So, and then you got Jack Tunney came out. Jack Tunney is the kayfabe president of the World Wrestling Federation. He's basically a Canadian promoter. I think he worked with Vince in the 1980s, and he died in 2004. And WWE ignored his death. He didn't do a tribute of Jack Tunney. I don't want to get into it. I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame yet. I don't know. So basically, since Lawler, he's not injured, so basically Tunney booked him in a match, and the ring announcer, Howard Finkel, said, like, if Lawler do not get into this ring, get back in the ring to face Brett, he'll be banned from the World Wrestling Federation for life. And by the way, like I said, WWF was not just working with Smoky Mountain Wrestling, he's also working with USWA. It's basically a territory in Memphis. I watched Brian Zane's video on it, Vince McMahon in Memphis. By the way, subscribe to Brian Zane from Wrestling Regret. He does good wrestling content. Yeah, he did a video on the USWA, basically Lawler's company in Memphis. Because Lawler was a heel in the World Wrestling Federation, but in the USWA, he was a babyface, a top babyface in that company. Anyway, so yeah, the next match number 6, we got Brett versus Lawler. This is more like a brawl. Too long in my opinion. In the end, Brett locked in the sharpshooter on Lawler. He refused to really let go of the submission hold. Brett won it, but instead the referee really changed the decision. Lawler won this match because Brett got disqualified because he did not let go of the sharpshooter. Yeah, this is just really furthering up the rivalry between Bret Hart and Jerry the King Lawler. And then you got like fucking how many they got multi of referees trying to break Bret off this hold, including his brothers, and the brothers end up beating Jerry the King Lawler, who's on a stretcher. Yeah, it was just furthering up the rivalry. And the original match, One Day I Might With You, Survivor Series 1993. The original match, basically it was supposed to be a blow-off or a next match of the rivalry between Bret and Lawler. It was supposed to be a Survivor Series match between Bret and his brothers, that is Bret, Owen, Bruce, Keith. I think it was a 4-on-4. Yeah, I think it was a 4-on-4 Survivor Series match. So yeah, Bret and his brothers versus Lawler and his Knights. Unfortunately, Lawler got suspended. Basically, it was allegations that he raped a 15-year-old girl. Unfortunately, that case was dropped. I think that girl confessed. Lawler came back in 1994. They won't fight again until 1995. They fought at the first In Your House show. They fought at the King of the Ring 1995 in the Kiss My Foot match. And yeah, it took them another 2 years because they didn't fight in 1994 because Bret fought his brother Owen. It's a shame. Has to do with timing. So let's move on to the next match. That is match number 7. Match number 7, we got Ludwig Borger versus Marty Jannetty. This is Ludwig Borger's first match in the company. I've done my research on Ludwig Borger. He wrestled in Herb Haben's UWF. He wrestled in New Japan. Now he's wrestling in the World Wrestling Federation. He's like this foreign heel. He's from Finland. He's basically talking shit towards him. The original match, I found it on Wikipedia because the original match was supposed to be Ludwig Borger versus Rick Martel. Unfortunately, I don't know why they cancelled it. Basically, Borger attacked him. I don't know if Rick Martel got injured or something. I don't know. So basically, Borger was talking shit about America, and Marty Jannetty's basically trying to represent, defend America's honor, some shit like that. Anyway. The match is just a squash match, just building up Ludwig Borger. In the end, Borger locked in. Jannetty has some offense. It's not like a complete squash match, like Jannetty didn't really have any proper offense. He did have some offense into the match, but it's just basically just building up Ludwig Borger. Borger hit the torture rack onto Jannetty for the win, and that was it. And it's not the last time we see Ludwig Borgert on the show. He appeared on the final segment on the show. We'll get to that later on. Oh boy. Okay, we're moving on to The Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez in a Rest in Peace match. So, this rivalry between Taker and Gonzalez started in the beginning of 1993. Giant Gonzalez debuted at the Royal Rumble. He distracted The Undertaker. He helped Undertaker eliminate in that Royal Rumble match. Set up the match at WrestleMania 9. Sorry, I'm kind of stumbling. So he set up the first match of WrestleMania 9. And the match ended in disqualification. Basically, Undertaker won this match by a DQ because John Gonzalez kind of rubbed collar film in the, not cauliflower, collar film. It's basically like, a knockout substance. He rubbed it in Undertaker's face, smothered him. And that set up this match on this show. Boy, this is the only, I think this was Undertaker. This is the only match of the streak that Undertaker won, but didn't win by pinfall submission. He won it by a disqualification, DQ. Anyway, the match between Taker and Gonzalez, same shit. Gonzalez was shit. What the fuck is a Rest in Peace match? To be honest, let's be honest. Did the announcers didn't really explain why is a Rest in Peace match? And there was no objects in this match. So basically, you had Giant Gonzalez hit Taker with the chair. You had Harvey Whipperman, who was feuding with the Undertaker since 1992, holding Paul Bearer's urn. I don't know what happened to Paul Bearer. Maybe Giant Gonzalez attacked him. I don't know. But this was not a good match. Undertaker in the 1990s had very crappy heels to work with. Wrestlers to work with. He had one or two good workers in the 1990s, like Warrior. Hogan was shit. This is outside the streak. Diesel, Kane, Vader, Mankind. Mick Foley, Austin. I'm gonna skip. Otherwise, this is gonna be a long review. So he had great matches in the 2000s with Batista, Randy Orton, Edge, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Kurt Angle. List goes on and on and on. Anyway, the match. Let's get to the climax of the match. Paul Bearer came back. He came to the ring, holding like a black wreath. I don't know. In the end, Taker hit like a move off the top rope onto the Giant Gonzalez. He's no way gonna hit the Tombstone Powerbomb because Giant Gonzalez, formerly known as El Gigante in WCW, is 8 feet tall. Taker pinned him for the victory. That was basically the end of the rivalry. And Giant Gonzalez blamed Harvey Whipping for his loss. Chokeslammed him, and that was it. And I think the next rivalry for Giant Gonzalez was against Adam Bomb. It was basically Harvey Whipping's next advocate. He's the next guy. He's allied with Harvey Whipping and Adam Bomb. Unfortunately, this was Giant Gonzalez's final WWF pay-per-view appearance before he ended up leaving the company in October of '93. I think he was feuding with Adam Bomb. Unfortunately, that rivalry went nowhere, and sadly, he died. He died in 2010 at the age of 44. He's fucking young. It's just a shame he died, but he's just never that great. He reminds me of the Great Khali. So moving on to match number 8. No, match number 9, sorry. Match number 9, we got a 6-man tag team match. We got Tatanka and the Smoking Guns. That is Billy and Botgun. Billy Gunn will end up teaming up with Road Dogg, forming the New Age Outlaws, part of DX, and also becoming Mr. Ass and the One Billy Gunn. Anyway, taking on Bam Bam Bigelow and the Samoan. I'm gonna say the Samoan SWAT team, but the head shrinkers. That is Fatu and Samu. Fatu used to feature Rikishi. I'm gonna say Samoan SWAT team. That's their old tag team name in WCW. They're the head shrinkers with Luna Vachon in that corner. I don't like this match. Match was boring. This is similar to the 6-man tag team match at King of the Ring 1993. I feel like this is a match on Monday Night Raw, not on the pay-per-view that people spend a lot of money. Why they did that, I don't get it. Beats me. trying to keep it short and simple. In the end, yeah, Tatanka and the Smoking Guns got the victory over Bam Bam Bigelow and the Head Shrinkers. So moving on to the main event. Oh yeah, and by the way, this show is the final appearance of Matt Bourne's Doink, because he supposed to appeared in the Survivor Series match with he was supposed to be teaming up with the Bushwhackers and Men on the Mission as Moen and Mabel versus Bam Bam Bigelow and his team with with the Head Shrinkers. And I think it was supposed to be the Quebecers. Unfortunately, Matt Bourne got fired because he was drug possession, and they turned him babyface, and that was the death of Doink. I don't want to get into it. If I review one day Survivor Series '93, I'll tell you more. But yeah, his win against Bret Hart earlier on the show, it didn't mean shit. He was over as a heel. This heel clown, because it reminds me, he's kind of like the Fiend of the 1990s. He's a mix of Bray Wyatt's Fiend and Heath Ledger's Joker. So anyway, moving on to the main event. The main event that is memorable for the show. We got Yokozuna versus Lex Luger for the World Wrestling Federation. So how we get that? So yeah, 1993 was a big year for Yokozuna. He debuted in 1992. And then in 1993, won the Royal Rumble match, and then he won the World Wrestling Federation title at WrestleMania 9, and also dropping the belt to Hogan. Bret did a shoot promo. The reason why it was the original main event was supposed to be Hogan and Bret for this match, for the show. Sorry, it was Hogan and Bret for the title. Unfortunately, Hogan declined, changed his mind. He just wanted to do the job to Bret, drop the belt to Bret due to his size. In his height, it was Hogan playing his politic bullshit. So Hogan dropped the belt to Yokozuna in the ring. You got this guy with the camera shooting a fireball towards the face of Hulk Hogan, and that makes Yokozuna a two-time WWF champion. So the reason why Luger got this push, we'll get to that shortly. So I think it was on the 4th of July's episode of Monday Night Raw. Lex Luger body slam Yokozuna on the US Intrepid. That make him, his good old USA Lex Luger, because before that he was the narcissist Lex Luger because he debuted at the Royal Rumble. Yeah, because he was part of that WBF, and then he came from WCW. He didn't compete in the WBF because the WBF was folded. I don't want to get into that fucking crap. Anyway, so yeah, the reason why Luger got that push because Hogan left the company, and they're trying to make him as the next Hulk Hogan because they both got blonde hair, they got muscles, and they got trained by the same wrestler, that is Hiro Matsuda. Anyway, so Luger was touring around the country, meeting sick kids. This is like 20. Yeah, this is like 20 plus years before Super Cena. I don't want to get into it, but touring around the country. They're acting like he's running for president. They did it. Pro wrestling did it for years. Like has a wrestler doing a campaign for the world title. EC3 did it in 2015, and then last year MGF did it. Preparing for his match with Jon Moxley at All Out. Anyway, so. You got a Japanese guy singing the Japanese national anthem. I'm not crapping on him, but his singing was shit. You got Randy Savage coming out with, what's his name? Neville? I can't remember his name. He was basically a singer. The guy singing the national anthem for America was good. But by the way, Savage not wrestling on this show was really disappointed. Savage was, I think at this moment in time, Savage was a not ring announcer. He was a commentator. He's not wrestling anymore. He ended up fighting with, what's his name? Crush. Almost forgot. Yeah, it was Crush, man. Almost say Adam Bomb, but it was Crush. He fought Crush in 93 and 94, but he wrestled at Survivor Series 93, but he's never wrestled on the show. He was a commentator. I don't get into it, man. Anyway, so Yeah, they got this good build, but this match between Yokozuna and Luger, it was okay. It wasn't a great match. It's there for the spectacle, but I think it was too much interference of Mr. Fuji and Jim Cornette. You know, you had one more of the match. You had Fuji trying to throw salt at Luger's face. Is that trying to do what he did with Bret Hart at WrestleMania 9? I hate to speak ill of the dead. Yokozuna cannot work in the ring. I'm sorry. He's just, he does like the clothesline, he does the super kick and the bonsai drop. That's it. More of the match, you had I think Yoko hit Luger in the head or the face with a bucket. He's trying to hit Luger with the bonsai drop, but Luger got out of the way. Luger clothesline Yokozuna, and the match ended in a countout. And the stupidest moment this has got to be the stupidest moment. Yeah, confetti falling from the sky into the building. Other wrestlers came down to the ring, celebrate with Lex Luger, and Luger's like one of them is on Luger. Really, kind of put Luger on their shoulders. Luger's waving the flag. He celebrated like he won the title. I think that's bullshit. I think that this is similar to. I feel like this is Starrcade 1997 booking between Hogan and Sting. You try to build him up like this top guy, because at this moment in time, like at the start of this video, because WWF was losing their major stars because they end up retired due to injury or going to WCW. But seeing Luger they made Luger like a chump, because I don't want to get into the Lex Luger thing. It's too long for this review, but they could do a lot better, man. So you're building Lex Luger up for 1 month. You had him body slam Yokozuna on the US Intrepid, making the good old USA Lex Luger with the red, white, and blue, tore around the Lexus breast around America. By time in the main event on this show, he couldn't win the world title. It's just like, what the hell, man? Lex Luger never won a single championship in the WWF. He won titles in WCW, but the only accolade he won in the WWF was the Royal Rumble in 1994 with Bret Hart. They did a rematch months later at WrestleMania 10. He won the Royal Rumble match with Bret Hart, and the rematch ended in disqualification. And after that, Lex Luger was done in the WWF. Yeah, he teamed up with British Bulldog, formed the Allied Powers, and they dropped the ball with that tag team. And then Luger left the company, go to WCW, and become a star in that company until the end of the company's existence. He never came back in the WWF ever again. Vince fired him on the final Nitro. I don't want to get into it. And then he might come back, in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame yet, but they did dirty for Lex Luger. The match between Lex and Yoko. Granted, Lex is not that great in the ring. He reminds me of John Cena. Both Cena and Luger, they don't have the moveset of a Bret Hart or Randy Savage or Sting. The list goes on and on, but they're okay workers. Yeah, and the difference is, like, Cena breaks character, Luger is not, This is like 20 plus years before Super Cena, but I don't want to get into it, so. Anyway, my final rating for SummerSlam 1993. Boy, I have to give it a 2. Yeah, I'll give it 2, man. This is a shit show. The two good matches, they did not really save the show, but it doesn't want me to go back to watch the show again. The only two matches in the good has to be the tag team title match between the Steiners and Heavenly Bodies, and Shawn versus Perfect for the Intercontinental title. Yeah, the count was a BS decision, but just what it is. The 3 matches in the OK has to be the opener. Razor Ramon versus Ted DiBiase Sr., the $1 Million Man. 1, 2, 3 Kid versus IRS, and the main event between Yokozuna versus Lex Luger. And besides that, there's a lot of crap on the show, like Bret versus Doink the Clown, Bret versus Lawler, Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez in the Rest in Peace match, and the 6-man tag team match was filler. Yeah, this was shit. This was the beginning of the end for the World Wrestling Federation until the African Reality era. Oh, before, or maybe 1997, but yeah. Yokozuna won't drop the title until WrestleMania 10 when he dropped the title to Bret Hart. You know, did the rematch from WrestleMania 9. Yeah, you got Bret. You know, yeah, this is the start of the lengthy reign of Yokozuna. Guys like Bret Hart and Undertaker. You can debatable. Savage. They basically dwindle their funds in mid-card feuds. You know, the world title opportunities passing them by. Yeah, this was the worst of times. We're in the dark days of the World Wrestling Federation. No one really got over. And also, you know, the main event segment, you had Ludwig Borger confronting Lex Luger. Unfortunately, I think they fought on a house show, but they never fought on a major pay-per-view. They fought at that year's Survivor Series, and unfortunately, it's a damn shame. That never went anywhere. It'd be really good to see that. Unfortunately, that rivalry went in. It kind of dropped it. Yeah, Borvik left the company in 1994, so what's the fucking... What a fucking waste. You know, but yeah, Borger, I don't know about Borger. You know, he's just a generic foreigner. You know, they thought they're going to do this whole USA Finland shit. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So yeah, no one's over. And see Luger, you know, celebrating like what he won the title with the balloons and the confetti. And, you know, it's just like, come on now. So, anyway, so that's my review of WWF Summerslam 1993. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button, click the bell, subscribe to the channel, be part of the Central Man, be part of the Central Unit today. Yeah, subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube for more wrestling videos, Marvel videos, and more. Next time, I'm going to get one more SummerSlam before the month is out. Let's travel to the year of 1996, the middle of the reign of Shawn Michaels. So, because 2 years ago, I did a review of, really a 3-part review of The Undertaker's Deadliest Matches. I reviewed the Boiler Room Brawl match between The Undertaker and Mankind. So let's review SummerSlam 1996. How the rest of the show end up? Wait and see. So this is the Central Man official signing out. And that's my review of SummerSlam 1993. This was a thumbs down pay-per-view.